Hi everyone, welcome to VARC with Gaurav. In this video, we will discuss passage 71 from the book RC 99 by Aristotle Prep. The passage is a fairly interesting one. Let's dive in. This is the glossary for you. The passage has very few unique words here and there, which I have highlighted for you and also given its meaning. The uniqueness of this passage is in the sense that it has only two large paragraphs, unlike other passages where we generally see 4-5 paragraphs happening. Secondly, this passage has a lot of long sentences, which tends to make reading a bit challenging for people who are not used to reading long sentences or without a lot of sub clauses here and there. But step by step, we will break it down and then go and try to attempt the questions. Fortunately, the questions are actually very easy in this passage. If you can break down the opinion of the passage, opinion of the author properly, then the questions are actually a very easy cakewalk. Okay. So with that in mind, let's take a look at what does the author say in the first paragraph. In the first para, right up to this word mankind, up to this part, the author is saying that कि देखो आप लोगों को ओपिनियन देने का तो फ्रीडम है. Okay, people can give their opinion, but there is a very important condition which the author would like to put forward. He believes that it is not okay that you harm somebody by expressing your opinion in a situation where someone can incur injury, where someone can possibly incur a lot of harm to themselves. ऐसे situation में it's not okay to give opinions which can lead to this harm. And for that he has given the example of this excited mob के सामने आप अगर opinions देते हो कि selling corn is something which amounts to starving the poor people or ensuring that poor people do not get food to it. The author says that as long as you are, saying this, printing this in a newspaper, it is okay. But imagine that in front of a corn seller's home, there is a very angry crowd assembled, and there you are going and shouting this opinion कि जो भी corn बेचते हैं वो गरीब लोगों को भूखा मारते हैं. What will that mob do? It can go irate, it can cause a lot of damage to that corn dealer or seller, even though that guy might be completely innocent. The author says acts like this should not be allowed to perpetuate, okay? Without justifiable cause, there is absolutely no way that we should allow such acts to happen. And to prevent such actions from happening, we should have active interference from mankind. Okay, just this basic opinion, बहुत अच्छा pragmatic opinion है ये, that you as an individual have a freedom of opinion, but the context and the situation matters. Okay, in the second half of the first paragraph, author is actually strongly endorsing diversity of thought, diversity of opinion, that as long as we are mankind, we are going to be imperfect, there are going to be a lot of different opinions, और रहना भी चाहिए. As long as you can ensure that you are not causing injury to other people, you are free to hold your own opinions and also live your life that if you want. Okay, so I personally like the author's thought process a lot over here. One long paragraph, but the context, if you want to distill it, is only this much. You have freedom of opinion, होना भी चाहिए, diversity of thought should be encouraged. Just one condition coming in from the author: please ensure other people are not harmed without good reason. Very important clause over here, and this will help us crack a problem properly. Okay, so please keep this part in mind, that as long as there is no good cause, you are not allowed to harm others with your opinion. Okay, with that in mind, let's move to the second paragraph. I'll break it down into two halves. In the first half, opening over here, the author is simply saying कि देखो, whenever you come into this world, you are not the first human being to come with brains in this world. A lot of mankind has already passed by, a lot of experiences है हमारे इंसानियत के पास, इंसानों के पास हर कल्चर में. So you have to accept that. Okay, it would be sheer foolishness if you end up thinking जो है वो मैं ही है, जो है वो मेरा ही दिमाग. ऐसा नहीं. Okay, but one should also keep in mind that as a human being, nature has endowed us with critical thinking. Okay, we have some mature faculties. In this sense, the author is implying ability of a man to think rationally for himself. So you should apply that thinking to your own experiences. Okay, take into account experience and learning of mankind from past times, but also apply your own brains to the situations which crop up before you. Okay. उसके बाद वाला जो part है, I would like to explain using an analogy instead of giving you line by line explanation of that firstly, secondly, and thirdly part which the author has mentioned over here. It would be a very bland explanation. So let's dive into an analogy example to better understand. Okay, just give me a moment. Okay, so let's say that there is a guy, Matthew, in USA. Let's say he's an American guy, pretty young fellow. Okay, he looks at the French culture and he likes the way the recipe with which the French people make their French toast. And he's like, यार मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा ये. I wish to emulate it. Let me start a business, or maybe let me make French toast the way French people actually make it. Okay. So regarding this situation, author has 3 points to say. Firstly, the author is saying what? कि मैथ्यू बेटा देखो, it's okay that you have deference, you have respect for the way French people make their toast. It's okay. But keep in mind, it's possible that the way these guys make toast today, they might have learned it the wrong way from their ancestors. So it is possible that the French learning itself is flawed. It is possible. Okay. No guarantee that they are doing it 100% correct. So if that is the case, you emulating these guys would be a foolish thing. होना नहीं चाहिए ऐसा. आपने उनकी गलती थोड़ी दोहराना चाहिए. Okay. Then he goes a step further, saying that चलो पकड़ के चलते हैं that the French people learned from their ancestors very properly कि भैया French toast कैसे बनाते हैं. Even if that were the case, it is possible that French toast is not good for Matthew's health. It is not good for Matthew. Okay. Maybe the way the French guys make it is suitable to their climate. American climate is different, so eating that French toast might not be okay. Author is saying this. So blindly copying it without understanding your own context, not cool. Even beyond that, author says thirdly, पकड़ के चलो कि वो लोग सही से सीख के बनाते हैं. मैथ्यू के लिए अच्छी भी है फ्रेंच टोस्ट. तो इसलिए इसका मतलब ये नहीं निकलता that Matthew should start making French toast the way it is made in France. No. Just following that recipe, just following that custom for the sake of it, or just because it is done that way is wrong. Author says अगर मैथ्यू उनको कॉपी पेस्ट करने लगा तो उसने खुद ने क्या किया, उसका खुद का कंट्रीब्यूशन क्या है? नथिंग. So doing that blind copy pasting, doing that blind following of French recipe of that French toast will ensure that मैथ्यू के खुद के स्किल्स डेवलप नहीं होते. दैट इज व्हाई ऑथर इज रेकमेंडिंग कि अगर कॉन्टेक्स्ट सही है, अगर वो चीज अच्छी है तुम्हारे लिए या वो कस्टम तुम्हारे लिए ठीक है, doesn't mean that you start following it blindly. खुद का दिमाग लगाओ, apply your own faculties, take into account that whether it is good or not. Okay, and then you will develop yourself, develop as a human being. This is what the author is commenting in the closing remarks towards the second half of the second paragraph. Okay. So I hope that you understood this explanation. With that in mind, let's go the questions now. First question, what does the author say? Question is asking, based on information in passage, author would likely not disagree. Use of double negatives over here. Simply, we want to find some statement which the author will agree with. And very straightforward, deriving from the first half of the passage, जो कॉर्न डीलर वाला पार्ट हमने डिस्कस किया था, यहाँ पर answer has to be B. That an opinion can be harmless in one context and dangerous in another. What is the harmless वाला example given? कि आप वो कॉर्न डीलर चोर है या फिर कॉर्न डीलर भूखों को मार रहे हैं, आप मीडिया में लिख दो, प्रेस में, न्यूज़पेपर में लिखो, might be harmless, but you say it to a crowd, that crowd might go crazy. Okay, so dangerous. Same opinion, but very different reactions depending on the context. Okay. Remaining options, you might find their presence in in the first paragraph, but कहीं ना कहीं wording के साथ में गड़बड़ होती है. For example, option E, you take a look at it. The problem with it is the use of this quantifier always. Okay. Author is saying an opinion can have an additional unintended effect. For example, that crowd going crazy in front of that corn dealer's house. It is possible, not necessary हर बार. And anyway, as I've always emphasized, please always look out for your quantifiers and qualifiers carefully. Similarly, option D, okay, all expressions of opinion should be considered action, not really. Nowhere has the author implied this. So bye-bye, छुट्टी इसका भी. Option C is really a good one. You come close to marking it possibly, but एक गड़बड़ हो जाती है, which I have highlighted in the explanation given a few minutes ago. क्या बोला है author ने? Opinions directed against fellow human beings should be punished, but he has mentioned a very important reason, very important condition कि if there is no justifiable cause तो फिर आपने रोकना चाहिए. But if there is a good enough reason for taking action against somebody, then the other might agree with it. ठीक है यार, जाओ आप कुछ तो एक्शन लो उसके अगेंस्ट, उस इंसान को पनिश करो या ना करो. बट ऑप्शन सी इज सेइंग कि हमेशा ही पनिश करो. ऑप्शन डायरेक्टेड अगेंस्ट फेलो ह्यूमन बीइंग शुड बी पनिश्ड. इट इज फॉरगेटिंग टू पुट दिस कंडीशनल क्लॉज कि इफ देयर इज अ जस्टिफाइबल गुड रीजन. वो लिखा नहीं है, वो होना चाहिए था. If because of its absence, option C is going into generalization zone, which we cannot accept. Okay. And option A is actually a distortion. What does it say? Different opinions exist because people are imperfect. Okay. Now, what the paragraph tells us is this, I'm highlighting it for you, that while mankind is imperfect, there should be different opinions existing. Okay. So, author is implying existence of two different situations happening, that mankind is imperfect and at the same time different opinions can exist. That's it. But that doesn't mean that because mankind is imperfect, because people are imperfect, therefore different opinions exist. Nowhere is it implied. Okay. So this is building an unnecessary causation because of which out. So nonetheless, option B is actually very straightforward, very friendly to the question, the way the question is written and the way you can attempt it. So very straightforward. Let's move to the next question. And as usual, if you have any doubts, please feel free to post it in the comment section. More than glad to help you. Okay. A question where the wording again matters a lot. Three statements are given to us, and the question is author would support which of the following statements. Okay. Author का आप टोन देखिए पूरे पैसेज में, it is very probabilistic, very pragmatic. ठीक है कि under certain conditions XYZ situations can happen. He is nowhere implying कि ऐसा ही होता है. ठीक है. तो this question actually is concerned with that Matthew and French toast analogy which we studied a moment ago. तो उसके हिसाब से statement 1, tradition and customs are usually the result of misinterpreted experiences. Wrong. Okay. Author is saying can be the result. फ्रेंच लोगों ने गलत सीख लिया हो शायद खुद के एंसेस्टर से टोस्ट बनाना. तो यहाँ पर लिखा है यूजुअली, which is a sort of generalization. Not okay. I don't think the author will agree with this. Second statement also falling in the same genre. Customs are based on experience in the past, which are different from modern experiences. Again, solid generalization happening. इसको अगर ठीक करना है आपको, तो आपने लिखना चाहिए could be. Okay, that second condition where we had studied कि फ्रेंच टोस्ट वो ठीक से बना भी रहे होंगे फ्रेंच पीपल, बट इट इज पॉसिबल कि वो कस्टम, वो रेसिपी डिफरेंट है मैथ्यू के कल्चर से, मैथ्यू के कॉन्टेक्स्ट से, तो ही शुड नॉट एम्यूलेट इट. तो अगेन कंडीशनल रीजनिंग भी है ऑथर ने वहां पे, बट द स्टेटमेंट सेकंड इज मेकिंग दिस जनरलाइजेशन नॉट कूल. This error of first and second is actually corrected in the third one. बहुत अच्छे से उसने लिखा है can. Stifle का मीनिंग होता है to prevent or to suppress. तो customs can suppress a person and individual's development. Definitely, जो वो थर्ड कंडीशन हमने स्टडी की थी कि customs can be good enough, but following them simply for the sake of it, simply because कि ऐसा ही होते आया है, तो उसमें खतरा ये है that you will not use the qualities, the gifts that you have been given by nature as a human being. Okay, so that is why third statement is actually very good. Author will agree with it, and because of that, option B becomes the right option. Okay, I hope that this question and explanation is clear to you. Let's move to the next question. Determining the tone of statements is very important. Whenever you are reading the passage, always keep in mind the wording that the author has used everywhere. Good question. Critical reasoning, strengthen, weaken type. We want to challenge, we want to weaken the author's assertion regarding a specific statement that he has made, conforming to custom merely as custom. Okay. This deals with this part which I am highlighting for you now. This thirdly वाला condition कि आप फॉलो करते हो कस्टम्स जो अच्छे हैं, आपके लिए शायद सुटेबल भी हो, लेकिन ब्लाइंडली उनको फॉलो करने में खतरा है. Why? Because the author is saying आप कस्टम्स को ब्लाइंडली फॉलो करोगे, परंपरा को ब्लाइंडली फॉलो करते हो, तो आपका दिमाग नहीं चलेगा. आप अपना क्रिटिकल रीजनिंग कब डेवलप करोगे बॉस? तो दैट इज द वरी, दैट इज द चिंता गोइंग ऑन इन ऑथर्स माइंड. कैन इंडिविजुअल्स ओन क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग डेवलपिंग और नॉट? तो ये सिचुएशन को आपको चैलेंज करना है. इफेक्टिवली वी वांट टू फाइंड अ सिचुएशन जहां पे कस्टम भी फॉलो हो रहे हैं और इंसान का खुद का क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग भी चल रहा है साथ साथ. ओके, बेस्ट केस सिनारियो व्हाट द ऑथर वुड लाइक हियर. तो ये वाला सिचुएशन अगर आपको मिल जाए तो ऑथर की चिंता जाएगी काम से, ऑथर का आर्ग्यूमेंट चैलेंज हो जाएगा, एंड दैट इज हैपनिंग इन ऑप्शन सी थर्ड. कि कल्चर है जहाँ पे कस्टम है, जहाँ पे ट्रेडिशन है कि बच्चों को खुद के डिसीजन लेने के लिए एनकरेज किया जाता है, मीनिंग दैट यू आर एनकरेज टू डेवलप योर ओन थॉट प्रोसेस, एनकरेज टू डेवलप योर ओन क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग, और वहां पे ये कस्टम है. तो इफ दिस इज ट्रू, तो बोथ साइड्स आर गेटिंग फुलफिल्ड. कस्टम भी फॉलो हो रहा है और क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग भी डेवलप कर लो. बहुत बढ़िया. Authors worry, authors argument is challenged very strongly. That is why this is the answer. All the remaining four options are simply portraying कि जहाँ पे custom blindly follow हो रहा है, but there is no room for an individual to apply his own brains. ठीक है? So with that in mind, we have done all the three questions. I hope that you understood the explanation of the passage as well as the questions. If any doubt, please leave them in the comment section. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.